Good afternoon on what is a grey, overcast but mild day. It is Wednesday the 23rd of February. I am back in Reed Nook with a brand new parcel which I got this week, and of course a nice hot cup of tea and a cat who is not ours, who is just settling on my lap. So I'm going to get into this box and find out what it contains. Okay, so slice that open, and thankfully his cat is not ours, has settled, so he's not putting his nose in here anywhere near the blade on this knife, because he can be quite curious, especially if you're not paying him enough attention. So almost there, and big blue padding, and the first thing is, what is this? The One Ring. And this is so this is the Loremaster screen and Rivendell Compendium. There you go. A sheet on the back, and it says a deluxe Loremaster screen in landscape format for the second edition of the One Ring role-playing game. Features beautiful art on the outside and a host of useful tables and important information on the inside, while keeping the Loremaster schemes hidden from the eyes of inquisitive players. The Rivendell Compendium contains information about the last homely house, including a map of the valley and a plan of the house itself. Some of Rivendell's inhabitants are included. Some of Rivendell's inhabitants are included, including Elrond, who can be used as a new patron. Finally, there are also new rules for how to create high elf player heroes. So this is published by Free League now. I've already done an unboxing of the starter set and also the deluxe version of the rulebook, but not the screen. So let's take a look. Okay, get the knife on this. Just seeing a point where I can get the knife into the without doing any damage. There doesn't seem to be anywhere. There we go. Yeah. It is very tightly wrapped. In fact, there is actually. Just do. Okay. Neatly away, and you've got the cover sheet. Okay, and let's take a look. And you've got this book. In fact, this is actually essentially it's a cover sheet and same information repeated on the front of this book. So this kind of seems superfluous, but there you go. And then we have the One Ring screen. So there's the front, and we open it up. You can see that, and what we've got is an image of a rider and hobbits being terrorised by what would like to be a warband of orcs. So, all in the gloom. Fantastic piece of artwork, and this is done in this very same style as you will see for things like Symbaroum and Twilight 2000. So essentially artwork with a lot of atmosphere rather than necessarily actual detail, and it really works. I really like it. So inside we have we've got it's 3 sections. So on this we've got special death table, risk levels, adversary, special damage options, conditions and advantages on the left hand table, and then in the middle we've got when to roll, endurance, resting and so on, sources of injury, wound severity and council structure. There we go. And on the right hand side, journey rolls, marching tests, perilous errors, journey events table, sources of dread and sources of shadow. Basically not a lot of combat necessarily here. But obviously here you've got everything. You should have everything you've got that needed to run your game of the One Ring, and it being landscape format and just 3 panels. It just sits there, and it's not too intrusive. I tend to find tables, screens in portrait format a bit more intrusive because essentially they're higher, and don't necessarily have to look over, but it does kind of look as if it's almost an impediment to you running it. And then these are actually got multiple. Okay, weirdly, okay, so there's not just one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4 of these cover sheets on here. So I don't know whether there's several One Ring GM screens gone out to backers or to into distribution, and they're missing those cover sheets. It could well be. Okay, but we've got here the One Ring Rivendell booklet. Now, it's worth remembering what the Rivendell book for the first edition is like. Essentially, that covers just the last homely house, Elrond, the High Elves, and so on, and basically essentially the foothills of the Misty Mountains and the eastern part of Eriador, and so there's a lot of information in there for the first edition, and useful still at this point. I think background material that would help. But we get into Rivendell and a good overview, a decent map of the region, and this is, I'm feeling sort of vaguely reminiscent of my playthrough of Lego The Hobbit, because you can go around the last homely house and just run around it as an environment and smashing things and collecting broken blocks and so on. But that's by the by. It does feel very similar. And then we get into inside the building. That's a lot easier to read than I was expecting. In the second edition, in the first edition, it's not quite so easy to read. But we've got plenty of good overview here. The Great Hall, the Hall of Fire, the Library of Elrond, and so on, where the player characters are expected will very likely interact with the inhabitants of the town. Then we have encountering Elrond himself, and then really nice. You've still got rules here for Elrond as patron, and a little bit of box text. So we have notable the folk of Rivendell. That includes Elrond half Elven, and his daughter Arwen and Domiel. And so, with a note hero Elven Beauty, the first time a mortal player hero sees Arwen, they recover 1 point of hope as a presence of grace encourages them. An Elven character can additionally convert a shadow score into a point of shadow. Not all sorrow is evil. And then others, we have Aladan and Elrohir, Arestor Glorfindel as well. So notable figures here. It's a fairly slim book, but again, useful. It adds to the game, and it's a bit like the equivalent of the Lake Town sort of section for the first edition. But here we go. We've got rules for High Elves of Rivendell, so you may now play a High Elf as well. And then we've got the virtues of the High Elves on the back there. So that's the Rivendell supplement. Now, obviously, one thing one thing I will say about this is hopefully, this will fit into. If you've got it, I'm hoping this will fit into the starter set. Okay, slot into the box, because obviously you want to keep these all together. And if it doesn't, I'm going to recommend getting a Ziploc bag in of basically US letter or A4 size, which all of this will slip into, including, of course, my 4 cover sheets for One Ring. Okay, so that's the Loremaster Screen and Rivendell Compendium for the One Ring 2nd edition. So there we go. Published by Freely Publishing, and I'm looking forward to looking at that as soon as I've dug into the core rulebook and the starter set. It will be probably the 3rd thing I do because it's the next thing along. Anyway, in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing of the Nook. If you have, please do click on that like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings of the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box containing a book or game, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so. All of course accompanied by a cat who is not ours and a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, thanks again for watching. We'll be back again soon with another unboxing of the Nook. Bye for now.